Hello, Saturnians. This is a VR to esoteric cosmos in books. It's a channel that I love. I'm gonna leave the link down below in the description box so that you can go and check out her channel. She has some amazing content. And the idea behind this tag is to choose 7 different tarot decks to represent the 7 chakras. And the first deck that I chose to represent the root chakra is the Wildwood Tarot deck, because this is the deck that I use when I want to feel grounded, when I want to feel connected to earth, connected to my human/animal self. Sometimes I take this deck to the woods with me, and I like to, walk and feel the earth under my feet, and this helps me feel connected. I have a video about that if you want to check out. I'm gonna leave the link up here somewhere. And I think this deck is perfect for grounding. I am a Virgo. I tend to be trapped in my own mind. It's very easy for me to just be lost in thoughts. And when I really want to, come back to earth, I consult these cards. So I really like these cards. And there are also lots of snakes in this deck. And I associate these snakes to Kundalini energy, and the root chakra is where Kundalini energy sleeps, and we need to start raising Kundalini energy by grounding. We cannot start from the top. We have to start from the root. So I really love working with this deck, and it has a very earthy energy to me. Right. Honorable mention here to the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, because this is a deck that every time that I consult these cards, this deck tells me to go back to my center, go back to my roots, come back to my physical body. And again, I tend to be in my mind a lot, and this is a deck that I use for spell work. So every time that I use this deck, it is almost as if it's telling me to go back to my center. Magic also needs my physical body and my physical energy. So I feel that some of these images help me really extract energy from my root chakra. There are really some powerful images here. This one, the Self card, is one of my favorites in this deck. And this deck is perfect for magic, in my opinion. Okay, so next we have the Sacral Chakra. And if you don't want to see any nudity or graphic images, click away right now, because this is the Kama Sutra Tarot and I absolutely love it. So the Sacral Chakra is about connecting with bodily sensations, being able to get pleasure and to feel bodily pleasure. It's also associated to feelings and emotions. And this deck is not really easy to read with. However, you really get the meanings of these cards when you observe the positions and the meaning of the positions. So the male represents yang energy and represents spirit, and the lady represents matter and yin energy. So by looking at the position, whether the man is on top or the woman is on top, or if they are lying down or standing up, then we can figure out the meanings, because in some cards the female principle is dominating the male principle, meaning that matter is overpowering spirit. And in other cards, male principle is dominating the female principle, meaning that there is more yang energy than yin energy, or spirit is dominating matter, overpowering matter. So when we have an unbalanced sacral chakra, it really has to do, in my opinion, with yin and yang energies not being well balanced. And this is why I associate this deck to the sacral chakra. And it's really an interesting deck, in my opinion. Not easy to read with, but it's still super interesting. Right. And next we have the solar plexus. It's the third chakra, the chakra connected to our inner warrior, our ability to fight and to react. So this is the Apocalypse Tarot. It's for me a very active deck. It's very masculine. It's very yang. And every time that I consult these cards, it's like a call to action. Okay, this deck never sugarcoats anything. It gives me a very straightforward answer, and it's always about doing something. It's about fighting for something, saying something that needs to be said. It really connects me to my inner warrior and to my ability to go get what I want and what I deserve. So this deck really never sugarcoats anything. You see, there is a very energetic aspect to these cards. And I always associate an element to my decks, and this is a fire deck for sure. There is a Mars kind of energy. So for me, it represents perfectly the solar plexus. Love this King of Wands. And next we have the heart chakra, which is all about love and compassion and affection. And I chose the Ethereal Visions Tarot because there is a certain Venusian fluidity to this deck. It's very soft, it's very beautiful, and it speaks straight to my inner Venus. Because, you know, Venus in the birth chart represents how we love and care and give and receive affection. So this deck speaks straight to my inner Venus, so I think it represents well the heart chakra. It's very nurturing, it's very giving. This is also a very watery deck, so the element of this deck is water for me. It's very feminine, very fluid. This deck was a gift. My friend Landon gave it to me. Thank you so much, Landon. I love this deck, and my clients also love this deck. When I do love readings for my clients with this deck, it is always crystal clear. It is always on point. I think because this deck speaks straight to my heart chakra. It is the ability to, you know, empathize with other people's emotions as well. And yes, it's always on point. And look at these gorgeous images. I love this Three of Swords and also the Lover's card. Okay, so next we have the throat chakra, and I chose the thought deck to represent the throat chakra because for me this is a very mercurial deck. It's all about the magician and the ability to articulate thoughts into words or download information from the higher realms in order to produce something tangible in the concrete realm through the magician's wand. So for me this deck screams Mercury. And Mercury in the birth chart is the planet associated with communication, intellect, articulation. And I have charged this specific deck to be my clarification deck. So yes, it makes sense that this is my throat chakra deck. Love, love, love the tower in this deck. Third eye chakra, and I chose the tarot of the spirit, which by the way also follows the thought system. And the reason why I chose this deck is because the images are not meant to represent things. So you see, the images are not very well defined in some of the cards. They're all based in sacred geometry and astrological associations and numerology. So when I look at these images, because they are not meant to represent things, what I see is a projection of my own subconscious mind. You know, like those images in the Rorschach test. For me, these cards are almost like a crystal ball because I see what I need to see in the images. Sometimes I look at certain images and I see the situation that I am inquiring about. But objectively, those images are just angles and numbers and, you know, geometric shapes. So it's very interesting because this deck communicates with me in a different way. I do sometimes use this for client reading when I feel that the client's not really telling me the whole story. So I have this deck on the side as a tool when I feel there is more to this story. And then I kind of see what I need to see hidden in the images in these cards. It's not so much about what the card means. Like technically, I know that the Eight of Pentacles means hard work, but if I look at this Eight of Pentacles with a question in mind, it's gonna give me the image that I need to see. So I find this really interesting. It's for me pretty much a deck that functions as a crystal ball. I love this Chariot. The Lovers. Nine of Cups, one of my favorites. Yeah, it's overall a very interesting deck to me. And I feel like I see through my third eye when I use this deck. For the crown chakra, I chose the Star Child Tarot. For me, it symbolizes this place in a distant, distant galaxy that once we called home many, many kalpas ago. And it's a place free of dualism, free of doubt, free of being and non-being, just pure consciousness. And of course, I say that symbolically, not literally. The energy for me in this deck is so subtle that it fails to give me pragmatic answers. Sometimes, if I want to ask about something very mundane and pragmatic, this deck gives me such a subtle, high frequency answer that I cannot relate. And this is why I chose this deck um, for the crown chakra. It's calling me back home, which means it is trying to connect me back to the source. And I really love this deck. I really love it. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.